What's up, y'all? It's your boy, Mr. Cheap Sense, back once again. And this guy behind me is Darren, the bow tie fragrance guy. Check out his channel. And I am Mr. Cheap Sense once again, as you already know. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. You don't have to purchase anything. You don't have to use your credit or debit card to do anything. I know people are skeptical or just don't want certain things coming on their phone. But nothing wrong with having a fragrance review where you get to hear somebody talk about some of your favorite fragrances or some fragrances that you don't know anything about. Subscribe to the channel. Ring the bell for notifications. Icon will open up. Hit all for all content uploaded by me. Make sure you like the video. Make sure you share the video. Make sure you're also active in the comment section. Now, the house or company that I'm going to talk about today, I actually have talked about one of these before. And I think another reviewer picked up one of these and talked about it. And I can't remember whether they liked the fragrance or not. I actually like both of these, one more than the other. But for me, the performance sucks. So they're going to be a hard pass for me, but I'm going to review these two anyway. I just tried to look them up online. I tried to look it up on Fragrantica. I typed in the names on the front of the bottles, and I couldn't find any information on these fragrances, period. So I do know one of them has a distinct smell, and when I first smelled it in store, I was like, the eye roll thing. You already know what I'm going to say. We'll get to that in a minute. But for the most part, you can find these at TJ Maxx, and they run you about $15. It says compared at $30, in which I can't see anybody paying $30 for this, not at the performance that I got from it. But it's $14.99, and you can pick them up at TJ Maxx. And these are those off-brand fragrances that you usually find not even in a case, protective case, to keep people from stealing them. You just see them sitting around on the shelf, and I don't even see anybody even wanting to steal one of these, because although they may smell good in the opening, they don't last long. At least not on my skin, they didn't. These are from Parfums Arbusan, Paris. This is their private collection. This is Plush Leather and Salted Vetiver. Now, there are other flankers to these I've seen, and I just didn't pick them up, especially after the performance of these two. It's just not even worth wasting money on. But for somebody who just wants something to spray on if they don't have money for other more expensive fragrances, I think these work well for somebody who is on a real serious low budget. Maybe somebody looking to have something to wear to work or for a job interview, or just want to smell good and not have to spend a whole bunch of money. Then yeah, you would have to reapply these. But for the most part, for somebody who has a distinct collection of fragrances, then I don't think this would work. The first one I want to talk about is Salted Vetiver. Now, I haven't smelled anything like this one. Atomizers are not bad. Actually, I have smelled this before. It kind of gives off the Invictus vibe. It does kind of give off like that. It's not that super syrupy, sweet, bubblegummy type vibe, but you do get that kind of Invictus-y, kind of sweet vibe with some salt. I'm going to tell you what exactly it kind of smells like to me. It smells like this, which is Bulgari's Aquamarine. This is what I get from this fragrance. And it just kicked in what it smells like. Yes, it's like an inexpensive version of this, but it has that Invictus DNA, that it gives off that sweet Invictus kind of vibe with that saltiness to it. And it just hit me when I sprayed it again. I couldn't figure it out in the store. It's not a bad smell at all. It's just the performance on it is not good at all. I may have gotten a couple of hours of longevity out of this. Projection, maybe like 30 minutes to an hour, but that's just off of my skin. Now, I know if I probably spray these on my clothes, in which I've been stopped doing that, because I want to give you all the most accurate reading I can when I'm doing fragrance reviews. Off of my skin, I don't think I've worn this one. I've worn the plush leather one. But off of my skin, I didn't get too much performance. Maybe, like I said, an hour, hour and a half, maybe a half hour, depending of projection. And I probably got like 3 hours, 3.5 hours of longevity out of it, which for somebody who's not really into fragrances, that's not bad. And you only spent $15. So this is not bad smell wise. It's just the performance. You get a decent looking bottle. I actually like the bottles. They are see-through. That's not bad. And then the plaque on the front is enraised. And I'm thinking that it's just, you know, it's not glass. It's just the plastic or the pleather. Plastic or the plaque, whatever this is on the front. It's raised though. You really can't tell, but you can feel it. It's not bad. It's not bad at all. This is, I believe, 100 ml. Yeah, 100 ml bottle. The cap is pretty cheap, light. It does snap, but it doesn't hold, so don't hold it by the top. And this is salted vetiver. I get like a mixture between Invictus and Aquamarine by Bulgari, like a mixture of it. And it smells good. Now, this is the one that when I first sprayed in store, I was like, plush leather. I was like, what is that going to smell like? Is it going to smell like leather? Or is it going to smell like, you know, something? And then I sprayed it. And what's the first thing you think I smell when I smell this? It smells like Invictus. Now, somebody did a review the other day, and I'm not bashing them because this is their opinion. They said that Steven from Redolescence fragrance, I think it was the one I said that smelled like Invictus. I'm not Invictus, Aventus. Primus, I think it was. I said it smelled like Aventus. It has that Aventus vibe in the opening to me. He said it smelled like something totally different to him, but you know, that's just his nose. To me, that's what I got. That's the same exact thing I get from this fragrance. I get that Invictus, Aventus type vibe, that almost pineapple-y, that opening that you get when you first spray on Aventus. That's what you get from this. Now, that doesn't last long, of course. That's a damn good atomizer. I do get that Aventus type vibe. It does die kind of quickly and turn into something else. This is not bad. This would be a great office scent. It's not loud. It's not overly aggressive. I think it's perfect for somebody who is really not into fragrances, just to spray on something and go for a little while and then have to reapply, put on about 3 or 4 more sprays later throughout the day. This is great. $15. You can't lose. For somebody who has a nice collection like Niche or the higher end designer type stuff, something like some of what I have here, these fragrances wouldn't fit into my range or anybody else's range who has a better fragrance collection. These are on the lower end of the totem pole. The performance off of my skin personally, it's not great. For somebody else, they may get better performance. I do tend to have a little bit drier skin than most. Yes, I do moisturize. Yes, I drink a lot of water. But for the most part, some fragrances just don't perform as well as others do. It's mostly skin chemistry sometimes, and other times it's other variables. But for the most part, somebody who is just getting into the fragrance game and isn't looking to spend a lot of money on high-end fragrances, don't be afraid to check these type fragrances out. Now, I'm not going to tell you to go out and buy a bunch of these, because there are people who are going to disagree and say that you shouldn't waste your money on buying cheap fragrances. You should save your money and go buy whatever. I don't live by that motto. I agree with it, but I don't live by it, because I do think that there is a market for everything for everybody. And not everybody is going to want to go out and turn loose, much less save up and turn loose, $60, $70, $80, $90, $100, $200, $300 on a bottle of cologne and feel good about it. Especially if you don't even know what you're going to get. You may buy that bottle and it might not be for you. It might smell good in the opening and dry down to something totally different, and then you're disappointed. I would much rather somebody go out and spend $14.99 on a fragrance and be disappointed and not really care, versus spending $200, $300, $400 on something and then feel like they got shafted, especially by their favorite reviewer or somebody that I recommended you go watch, and they coaxed you into it. So Plush Leather and Salted Vetiver, I actually came on here to somewhat bash, but being that I smelled them again because I only sprayed them. I wore Plush Leather. I never wore Salted Vetiver, but being that I just sprayed it, Salted Vetiver, and it came to me what it kind of smells like, and I have those two fragrances, I actually like the scent of both of these. I'm not highly, sold on Plush Leather, because I'm so over all the Aventus copies and clones and, the similarities. Like, I'm so over that crap, man. But this is not a bad scent. I will give them credit for it. The bottle on this one also is not bad, as you can see. They're not bad. They almost kind of remind you of the name, what's the name of that house? Memo, I think. They have bottles that look something similar to these. But for the most part, these are not bad. Once again, for somebody who isn't really into fragrances like that and just looking for something to spray on and go and smell decent, I think you can go with these. Now, there are others that I've seen recently when I was in Savannah, Georgia at, was it TJ Maxx? Yeah, I was at TJ Maxx, and I see they had some new ones out, not from this house, but from a different company. And I did check out one of them, and it did smell familiar to me. I can't remember what it was, but if I go back to that TJ Maxx again and they're still there, I will do a review this time. I actually was doing an interview at a place up the street from TJ Maxx, and I stopped by TJ Maxx on the way out. So I'll do a review next time I go and show you guys what they have there by the way of these cheapies. And if there's anything good, I'll show you those also. But for the most part, that is all I have on these two fragrances, Plush Leather and Salted Vetiver. I am out of here, guys. Peace.